That's stunning testimony during yesterday's January 6th hearing. The Secret Service says it will cooperate with the January 6th committee under oath after those shocking allegations made by Cassidy Hutchinson, who testified that former President Trump was violent with his own Secret Service agents.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
A story we have not heard until now. Let's bring in ABC News Chief Investigative Reporter Josh Margolin. So, Josh, what is the Secret Service saying about Hutchinson's story? Are they saying that the details are true? And will these agents actually testify under oath and tell the committee exactly what happened in their own words?
Hi, Kira. Well, first of all, it's not clear that the agents will, in fact, testify. We know that the Secret Service has said they would, and they would testify under oath. We don't know if there are any conditions. We don't know if their testimony is going to be in public, and we don't know if their testimony is going to be complete. Also, we don't actually know if they're going to confirm the details, those specific details that you just showed in terms of the episode inside the SUV. Because remember, when Cassidy Hutchinson was testifying yesterday, she was talking about a story about the events as she had been told. Most of her testimony focused on what she knew, what she heard, what she saw herself. But that anecdote was what was relayed to her. So it's not clear that all of those specific details are going to be confirmed. The most important thing that came out of yesterday's testimony is the core of what she testified to, that the White House and the Secret Service were aware of the severity and the seriousness of the threats facing Congress and the Capitol going into January 6th, and that those threats focused on people that wanted to breach the complex and do it with weapons, period.
And it was interesting, when she also was describing this event where she was getting a story from another person telling a story, right? She talked about this happening in the Beast, but the president wasn't in the Beast. He wasn't in the limo, which is referred to as the Beast. He was in the SUVs. So could that be something that might stand out as a possible discrepancy? Again, you pointed out she was just telling a story of a story she was told, right? So little details can get mixed up in stories.
Oh, absolutely. And we know that with something like this, with testimony that's so explosive and information that's so potentially game-changing in terms of the overall story of what she said, that people that want to criticize her will nitpick and will find any single discrepancy or question of fact to hang their hat on. But what was really important, Kira, you saw this yesterday in real time, and then we've seen it now for 24 hours. The issues that are being raised, the holes that people are trying to poke in Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony are very, very small. They don't get at the core, which is that Donald Trump was aware of the threat. His people were aware of the threat. The threat was directed at Congress, and it was violent. That is really the explosive, nexus point to the whole thing.
Well, it's interesting, too, the president seemed unfazed by the rioters. He was unfazed by the fact that there were people showing up there at the Ellipse where he was speaking with weapons.
Right.
According to Hutchinson, he was saying, they're not going to hurt me personally. I'm not concerned about that. What does that tell us about his intent that day, what he planned on doing? I mean, if this is all true, it sounds like he was just ready to march right with them, weapons and all, and see what happens.
But more than that, what it says, there's no other way to read it or to hear it, then if he knows what their intent was, and then he knows that their intent was not to harm him, he knows that their intent was to harm someone else. And who was that someone? And clearly, the whole body of her testimony yesterday, over the 2 hours, and then the depositions that she gave prior to that, says that Trump was aware they were coming armed, they weren't going to pose a threat to him, but the threat that they were going to pose was the threat down the road a mile on Capitol Hill, where the action was being conducted that he disapproved of. And as you say, she went over and over again, and this anecdote about Trump possibly having an altercation with the Secret Service agents, that's all about the idea of him going to the Capitol. He wanted to go and potentially lead his followers in a show of force and protest about what was going on Capitol Hill, which was the certification vote. And we know that the Secret Service yesterday, in their limited response, they didn't confirm the details of the alleged altercation. They did confirm that the agents told Trump at the time they did not want to drive him up to the Capitol. It was not secure. They were taking him back to the White House, which means they knew that the Capitol was not secure for somebody under Secret Service protection. It was really just an extraordinary day.
Right, and the Secret Service, too, saying he definitely was upset. The president was upset. They just didn't confirm the lunging.
Exactly, that really is the only thing.
Right. Okay, so finally, what do we learn about the response from Capitol Police and the FBI, you think, after the hearing yesterday?
It confirms what we've now heard over the last year and a half. In the immediate aftermath, there was this rush to say, we didn't know, we didn't have the right intelligence, we wish we would have known more information. And that preliminary spin that we got on January 7th, January 8th, January 10th, that all has washed away. Point after point after point, we've learned that they knew of information, the law enforcement agencies, and now yesterday it brings it on home. It says that not only did the Secret Service know about the threat in advance and the severity of it, but the White House operations staff knew about it. Mark Meadows was aware of it as the chief of staff and potentially the president. And if they were aware of it, then it may well be that they wanted it to happen.
Josh Margolin, great conversation. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.